Hello, hello. Good morning. Almost afternoon. Salute to all the early entrants. Hit the like on your way in, and we're gonna get started, man. I made apparently an offensive tweet. Yeah, it's bad. It's real bad, man. An offensive tweet in which I said, well, let me just show it to you. Daggone it, where to go? Yeah, here it is. And it's a little impromptu. I didn't get to finish my essay for this, so it'll be a little disjointed. So I'll give you my give you my excuse ahead of time. All right, here we go. All right. So, Sub-Zero, what's up, fam? How you doing? So the conundrum. Let me see. Here's what happens, right? So, bro, Ninja's got everything figured out except how to fix the community. It's 100 plus degrees in the south. Trump had been waiting hours outside. Do you think they got a tan while waiting in 100-degree weather? Like someone's trying to put out a difference in skin tone as if, I don't know, they think this is a white person that's wearing blackface to imitate, black people support Trump. Something I don't even know. But my whole point was the conundrum of 99% of black people's problems being the lack of nuclear families, yet 99% of the energy and attention is on things that do not matter at all, never ceases to confound me. Right? The Brookings Institute, right? Three things. Graduate high school, get married, then have kids. I mean, that's it. It's not hard. Well, what are black people talking about, or what is promoted that black people are talking about? Reparations, right? Reparations, as if that's going to fix anything. And I mean, and not only that, right? Not only that, it is the evidence states the opposite. As if there have been no free programs, if there have been no resources available to lower class blacks. Matter of fact, the more you made the resources available, the worse the black community did. So how is giving a lump sum payment to black people going to help them? I mean, that's just foolishness. I mean, that is utter foolishness. I mean, nothing is going to get around this. Hold on. You know me and my charts. So nothing's going to get around this, right? This big bubble at the bottom, 53% of households are under $50,000. Why? Because black people don't get married on par with everyone else. So these households are just single people. So reparations, all these people down here are going to blow it. These people here in the middle, 50, 99,000, they'll probably blow half of it. Maybe pay off some debt, or heck, maybe use it to create more debt. All right, people in the middle will probably invest some, spend a little, and the people over here, 150,000 to 200,000, they will be investing it. I mean, if someone sent reparations, it's going straight into the bank, right? And I in my darker thoughts, I think I would Thanos snap reparations into being and just sit back and watch the chaos. Because then I could question all the believers in thereof. Be like, well, what happened? What happened? They got the money, and yet And how do people believe in the phrase, money is an amplifier, it only makes you more of what you are, but then they think reparations is going to equal quote unquote generational wealth, right? How so? I mean, how is that going to happen? Because if money is an amplifier, people who are bad with money and blowing money are just going to blow it. Those people who are good with money are still going to be good with it. The people who made some bad decisions, some good decisions with money are going to do the same. There is going to be no change in the aggregate. And can I be honest? Generational wealth is a dog whistle for Black people. It is an utter dog whistle. Hell, the whole environment of Black thought is literally controlled by media because you don't have the families to pass it down. That's why Black people that come from generations of nuclear families are so different from the people that do not. You understand the whole, most people, right, end up the same, right? They have, matter of fact, where's that other? Where is that other one? So if you're middle class, your kids are likely to be middle class. Why? Because you've trained them to be middle class, right? It's a culture, right? And even when I was a kid, I had upper middle class relatives, and I was like, hey, wait a minute. It seems like more Black people should work on being middle class so that my relatives aren't the only Black family in this neighborhood, maybe. Right? But that didn't happen. So I'm not going to sweat it. I mean, and I'm not going to retard House Freeman to quote unquote keep it Black. I'm just operating on my programming, and it got me here, and so be it. So freaking be it. But let me pull up this other. Here it is. Let me play this for y'all.
Blacks think that in the way that they too wait for the answer. Blacks think that we've been misled by our leadership, for instance. They think that we can consume our way into equality and sees equality as an equality of materials. So if I have the same car as a white person, if I have the same house as a white person, a similar job, then I'm equal. But you cannot consume yourself into equality. You must produce yourself into equality, and you move into equality and beyond by productive thinking. Because as long as you're consuming knowledge or you're consuming materials, the guy who is giving it to you or selling it to you is producing at the same time, which means that you never catch up with him because he's always 2 or 3 steps ahead of you. To a good extent, many of our students go into schools, college as well as secondary levels, consuming, and their minds are not being developed to produce the true means by which they will accomplish equality. Everything else is sham.
Just at a personal note, when I was going to school, okay, at an illustrious college in this area, I found many of the European philosophies, concepts, etc., to be totally irrelevant to my position in the world. And in my effort to come up with some kind of Afrocentric view, that I was stifled and received your.
Black history shouldn't be regulated to 28 to 29 days in February.
All right. So, and what does that tell us? And what are my thoughts on that? All right. My thoughts are that that is a particular thing, right? Oh, shoot. That is a particular pathology. That is a particular pattern of, right? A pattern of behavior, right? Black people that consume their way to equality during the affirmative action of the 70s, right? Which would be Black people being put into like government jobs, public sector jobs, etc. Companies needed a quota. It was a quota system is what it was. So they didn't necessarily tell you exactly what the quota is, but the quota was, more black people working at X company than you had, yesterday or whatever, right? So you had people that had access to a greater amount of income, right? But then did they pass the culture and ability to maintain that income onto their children? I don't think so, right? Because the black people that produced passed down the requisite values to remain middle class, right? And I think this is why in the 90s, right, you would see, these depressed neighborhoods, and invariably you would see like a nice little picturesque postage stamp of a house. Those were the actual black middle class. Those were the actual people who were able to pass down the values to their families and their children that they could then remain middle class. Because the whole thing about gentrification is not possible or not even likely if you keep up the area in which you live, right? But if the next generation on, you are not able to pass that down, then what is that neighborhood look like? It's going to look like crap, right? And not everyone has to sell. What's the name worked just fine for me, right? Gentrification worked just fine for me. If you've got it, you got it. If you don't, you don't. So back to generational wealth, it's just a dog whistle. It really doesn't mean anything. And most people don't have it, right? That is why in America, you have so many people who fall into and out of the millionaire category. That's why you have so many people who, let's say some guy's a great salesman, right? You can sell ice to an Eskimo and he becomes a millionaire, gets, has a family, have kids, whatever. But although he can live in an upper middle class neighborhood, even send his kids to a private school, right? He still, marries a chick from his area, from his socioeconomic status, and that is then ingrained in his kids. And then a generation or two later, they're back to the same level. So giving people things doesn't work. Like, it just doesn't work. That's why reparations would not work. And honestly, this has been cemented in my mind because I now have access to people that actually have generational wealth, right? The people that whose family owns the mall where you live, right? Those kind of people who, where you're in a, private school and they're like, oh, we were down, $300,000, but then a $1 million donation came through. And, the people that do that, right? That is a different culture and a different value system that they are able to maintain that throughout the years. And it has been my contention since I was a kid. Black people got to work on being middle class. And that requires families. Like, nothing else happens until you can build a family. Nothing. You're not gonna, nothing. Just nothing. There is no, all these people who are on Team Black and, oh my God, the white man is the white. Where's your family, dude? Since you are fighting for equality so bad, where is your family? I mean, these guys are capital U, Umar, unaccomplished. That's all you see. Why are there so many singletons and people that couldn't run a nuclear family crying about white people? And really everybody, listen, man, it's so common, that everybody sees it, right? I mean, let me see, where is this question here, right? Guy I follow on Twitter, right? He said, is black poverty artificial or real? I don't know many poor people that are married and doing what it takes to make ends meet. Usually they're at the least middle class. Hello. Like, this is patently obvious. There's no way you're going to have a group of people that are having kids out of wedlock at a 70% clip. 70% black births out of wedlock. 70% bastardy rate. And then you're going to sit at the finish line and say, well, oh my God, look at the white supremacy. Are you serious? That's not happening. There's no way. No one takes that seriously. Not even black people. You can't even, like, how foolish is that? And the contention that, well, 99% of the problem is that's just so that crazy. What about white people? This. It's like, well, what percentage is it then? If it ain't 99, what is it? You don't have a percentage. You just have accusations because you hate white people. That's it. That's it. Matter of fact, I mean, dude, listen, man. Oh yeah, the school to prison pipeline. So the school to prison pipeline, enforced by white female teachers, destroys thousands of black kids every year. Are you high on life? Like, what are you smoking? I want to know. Seriously. Because let me bring this up yet again. I mean, what are you? There's what white female teachers are there? Right? Most of the people educating black boys are black women. Yeah, let me play this again as a refresher.
So we going to Freeman's Journal. Freeman's Journal. Go ahead and see. Go ahead. I'm curious what you got going on here. Oh, Freeman, you muted. That's why we can't hear you.
Oh, someone said something about black women in education.
Mm-hmm.
So just wanted to show you the Detroit Public School Board.
Mm.
I mean, if there's some sort of through line we had about education, if there was just something we could see, maybe the Atlanta Board of Education. If there was anything that we could see in the Philly Board of Education.
I'm not getting the point, Friedman.
I don't know either. If there was just some sort of throughput.
Was that George Clinton?
Memphis, Shelby County Schools. I mean, gosh, if there was only a through line we could look at.
What is this proving?
I'm just lost.
What is this?
Well,
what is this proving?
we're slow over here, FD. We like pictures because we can't read.
Yeah,
I mean, like y'all saying that to make jokes, but
I count with my fingers. So I'm looking at school boards and wondering if there's any hint about.
Oh, I think I see, Friedman. I see people that look like us. They look like us, so they have our best interests at heart.
Okay, for the nosebleed seats in the back, explain for everybody, those that are a little slow. Freeman Journal, explain.
Have you ever heard the phrase?
Explain. Hold on, wait, real quick. I want him to explain in full adult paragraphs what point that he's making for those who may not know. Go ahead, Freeman Journal.
If there's anybody conducting the school to prison pipeline, it is black women. They are the conductors. Choo choo. From Oh, here we go. Sorry, I was on mute. Thank you, Auntie and Jay. Hey, and Sean. Dang, all y'all said I was muted. All right. So, black girls graduate at a higher rate than any other demographic in Memphis schools. Here's why. I wonder why. What could it possibly be? I don't know. You know, is it white supremacy? That's why y'all are here, man, to keep me on track. I need a producer, Shaka. But so yeah, so I mean, what could it be? You think it's white supremacy? You know, what could it possibly be? Jeez, these people. Wait, I'm trying to put a poll in here. How do you put a poll in here again? So yeah, so I don't know, man. Just it's crazy. Ecamm is better. All right. Yeah, man. So what's going on here? You know, that is utterly ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. Most black kids are being educated in a completely black run school system. And the black kids they're in the suburbs are getting better test scores. So, you know, that statement is just full of BS. It's full of BS. So, and then it's just, you know, 99% of the energy is elsewhere. You know, what about the Innocence Project? Is that why kids in Baltimore can't read? Right? Kids in Baltimore can't read because of the Innocence Project. Right? Oh, matter of fact, death rates. Gone over that about a bajillion times. Right? Most murder victims are black. The murder rate damn near doubled in a lot of major cities. Didn't care about that. What was that, white supremacy, or was that more black people killing more black people? Like, hey, let's some guy ODs on fentanyl, and so let's burn down the country. But you know, a city like Louisville almost doubles its homicide rate, and you know, that's invisible. That must be white supremacy too. It's keeping black people from caring about the deaths of other black people. Is that what it is, or am I mistaken? So, and this will be a quick one. I just had to get this off my chest. So, and you know, when you ask somebody, you know, what they are, you know, what's holding you back, right? You notice how when people are like, oh, you know, this or that. Well, what's holding you back? There's never any. They never have an answer, right? It's something like, well, you know, ask that question to the millions of black men sent unjustly to prison for decades. So, because the answer is nothing, they can't figure it out. I mean, sitting at the finish line and looking at unequal results while not examining the starting line is asinine. But whatever, you do you. And I got one more example of these freak shows. What is this? What is this? What is this? What are y'all doing? This is madness. This is madness. Oh my god. Oh god. Anyway, there was one more. I had one more. Darn it. Did I bookmark it? Maybe I bookmarked it. It was shoot. It was, Ah, here it is. So yeah, man, people are addicted to excuses, man. And it's crazy to me. So look, here's another post. I have to laugh because black people in America were statistically more successful economically and socially when we were more religious, spiritual, and adhered to the ancient text. Even directly after slavery, we're not doing any better than 40, 50, 60 years ago. Of course not. And that was the whole thing with Byron Donald, right? When Byron Donald compared the status of black people today versus back in the 1950s, they don't want to have the conversation about the actual measurable statistics, right? How you would measure a healthy community, percent married, percent kids living in a two-parent home, education. Matter of fact, in the 50s, a urban black kid was likely better educated than a rural white kid, right? These are all like things that they don't want to talk about. So the initial reaction of Byron Donald is, are you saying slavery was good? Are you saying that Jim Crow was awesome? Is that what you're saying? Because they just don't want they don't want to juxtapose it, right? They're scared of that juxtaposition because, like the condition of Black America has never existed like this. It has only gotten worse, right? There was no corollary to Sexy Red in 1940. Just wasn't. So, yeah, it's only gotten worse. So anyway, Steph is dope, right? I'm not doing any better today than even 40, 50, 60 plus years ago. And I said, I just came for the excuses this statement would elicit. What never ceases to amaze me is the capture narrative holds over people's minds. The way even middle-class black people that have a front row seat to black dysfunction will utter the same narratives that their own real lives negate is perplexing, right? So immediately what happens? A middle-class black guy comes in and validates what I just said. Me being an exception does not negate the general rule. You can succeed in spite of, but to not acknowledge the clear disadvantages is disingenuous and amounts only selling hope. I hate losers, man. I promise you I hate losers. Someone can work as hard as me and not have the success. What do I tell that person? And I said, find me this Bigfoot. Because all these people for whom have a visceral, knee-jerk, damn near involuntary reaction to follow these things and you'll get a better outcome, they themselves can never find me this Bigfoot, right? So he's making a hypothetical that I don't accept, and they can never prove it. Where is this Bigfoot? Where is this person who's doing everything right but can't get over the hump, right? Because this chart, if this chart was indicative of that, you'd have a bubble like in the 50,000 income, right? This 53% would be normal, would be in line with everyone else, right? And you'd have a bubble here because you're hitting a ceiling. But you don't see that, right? You don't see a ceiling. What you see is, oh, black people don't get married. I mean, at least you could use that as an explanation. You could. And you could, it doesn't guarantee that is correct or incorrect, but you would have data that you could reasonably say would lead you to that conclusion. But that's not what you have here, right? You have a bubble here and you have a deficit in the higher income realm. Because what happens if two people from the under 50,000 cohort get married and have kids, and then that man and wife progress in their professions? They end up rising into these levels, into 100,000, 150,000 and beyond, right? But no families and no aggregate progress. And yeah, I said you are an exception. The narrative capture is amazing to see in real life. People always think they're an exception. Oh, and by the way, this domesticated face of the Negro. Why do they always look like that? Anywho, that's it. Look, I'm out. I just needed to get that off my chest. because if you're not talking about marriage, and you're not addressing marriage, then then you're not winning. Just leave it alone, let it go, because there is no progress. If people keep talking about the Black community but aren't married, how does that work? Like literally, how does that work? How do you RM? What's up? How does that work? Right? How do you get ahead? And really, see, and I've said this repeatedly, and it always just they keep making this true, right? When you want Black people to progress more than you want the white man to be guilty, right? Then you'll make some progress, probably personally, right? But that's not the case. Like, oh man, I wish I had the video the SKC showed yesterday. Yeah, because they brought in a white guy to fix Jackson, Mississippi. And it's ironic because they would never let a Black man, right, fix Jackson, Mississippi. They wouldn't. Not only is there a brain drain, right, within the culture because intelligence is derided, right? There's also an ambition deficit because those go hand in hand. So there's no, like, who would white guys' tools are colder. Yeah, they are, right? And when the white guy says spend less than you make, it's magic. Black guy says spend less than you make, and it's like, no, that'll never work. They do. People in Jackson just want to be saved, man. They truly believe in white supremacy, right? No one like Fantastic said, dude. No one believes in white supremacy like Black people. So what's the question here? Marriage by contract or not? It's whatever you want to do, man. Honestly, but there's no escaping like the paperwork, right? When people say, "Oh, I'm going to escape the paperwork," dude, they had divorce like in the 1600s, right? You haven't had marriage licenses, that long, right? So one way or another, there's going to be some paperwork. Matter of fact, there was just a post on Twitter about, I think it's Illinois. Illinois is basically they're going back to either going back to or expanding common law marriage, basically, so boyfriend and girlfriends can get divorced. So men need a political solution, but I separate those two topics, right? Separate those two topics. What else? Nope, that's it. That is it. Hey, thanks everybody for coming through. It's going to be a quick one, and tune into the Hood Conservative. Right, tune into the Hood Conservative. He is up and running and online. Right. Yep, because that is where I am going as well. So appreciate y'all coming through. And I'm out.
It's been a long while.
Oh, Auntie, don't do it. Don't do it. There's more support for preppy raised kids to succeed. You don't know how school funding is done because the broke kids are a magnet for more resources. Right? Baltimore is one of the best funded school districts in the nation, hands down, period. Matter of fact, Success Academies educate poor kids. You know who prevents Success Academies from proliferating in Black communities? Guess who? Oh, if you guess teachers unions, then you are correct. If you guess Democrats, then you are correct. So no. It's culture. Because Black kids that want to succeed and they get the opportunity from like Success Academy, KIPP academies, etc., can't succeed. Right? It didn't take any extra money because all those schools get less money per head than public schools. Way less. All right. Adios, muchachos.